you landed on this video, you're probably like me. You have a big vision, a certain vision for yourself and for your own life. And that vision, that version of yourself requires you to show up and to take very bold, courageous action. I think especially for women like us, it is so important that we take care of ourselves so that we can continue turning our dreams into reality and have those energy levels that we need to, actually do that. And of course, while taking big, bold action and doing great things in this world, we want to make sure we stay healthy. We want to make sure that our bodies are being nurtured or being supported so, that we don't just get to all places and have a pretty life on paper, but we actually feel healthy and vibrant and good. Now, before we fully get into it, I do want to say, I think we should basically design our lives and our businesses around our self-care, not the other way around. I know for a lot of people, what they do is like, they have their goals, they do their things, and then it's like, how do I now squeeze a little bit of self-care in? I don't think personally it should be like that. I don't think it's healthy. So what I would recommend in general, before we get into these tips, which by the way, I did pick some that are really, really easy to implement, don't take a lot of time or anything like that. But with that being said, let's not make self-care another thing on your to-do list, but something that's sacred to you, something that you will always do no matter what, because you're worth it, because you know it's needed for you to thrive. Also, let me know in the comments if you want me to make a video about things that are self-care, but they're not necessarily habits. I realized, actually, I was thinking about, while I was thinking about this video, I was like, my God, there's so many things that I actually do or have done once or, well, kind of made a habit, but it's not the typical kind of habit we're going to be talking about today and that you might be thinking of. So let me know if you're interested in those more like one-time shifts regarding self-care, and that I can make a video about that too. So the first self-care habit for you as a busy woman that I want to recommend to you is scheduling a monthly massage, and not just scheduling a monthly massage, but scheduling it ahead of time. And of course, it doesn't just have to be a monthly massage. Like personally, I like to do weekly to bi-weekly. Kind of depends how busy my schedule is, but here's the fun part. When I have a busy schedule, that means more massages, not the other way around. But yeah, it doesn't really matter so much how many massages you do. I would recommend to do it at least monthly, but I understand not everybody has the same financial resources available to them right now. But for me, the big game changer was scheduling them ahead and really deciding that's something that I do. That's something that my call her higher self, next level version, millionaire self, whatever you want to call it, that's something that she does. And so I'm going to do it today. And the thing about planning them ahead, scheduling them ahead, is that you don't need to remember this all the time. You don't need to think, oh, I haven't scheduled my massage, or oh, now a whole month has passed and I haven't done it. But it's like, oh, every last Friday of the month, for example, I go have my massage. Scheduling ahead like that doesn't just help you save time and energy because you've only taken care of it, but it also gives you the space where you get to be excited about that. Like, I don't know about you, but whenever I have a massage scheduled ahead, I'm like, I'm so excited to be going there. And like, maybe you find a place that's really flexible. So for example, the place that I currently go to, I can just book in a time, and then on the day I can decide what I want to do, which is really amazing because I find that so in flow with my feminine energy, with my femininity, and I can just be like, how do I feel today? Where am I at in my cycle? All of these things. And to me, that's a big plus. But of course, you can also just, schedule anything that you feel will always be good for you. But yeah, it's also this beautiful thing that you get to be excited for it. And as I said before, it gives you also this feeling of that next level identity, so to speak, of like, I'm the woman that takes care of herself like that. And it's not something that you have to recommit to all the time because you've already committed to it. Now, if you feel currently a monthly massage is not in your budget, what I recommend doing is to really check the prices, because I used to think massages were super expensive, and why that was the only time I ever had a massage was maybe if my parents purchased a massage for me at a hotel, and that was maybe like once a year. And typically in hotels, massages are a lot more expensive than in other places. So before you think I can't afford that, maybe check prices, maybe find the place that you can actually afford it. With that being said, of course, don't go to any dodgy places that, don't make you feel good. Because the whole idea of this is that you feel well taken care of and safe and nurtured. So I wouldn't go to a massage place, or I wouldn't recommend going to a massage place where you don't feel like that elevates your mood, your vibe, your everything. With that being said, if you really don't feel it's currently in your budget, you don't feel like you can do this right now, give yourself a massage and schedule that into your calendar as well. For example, I used to have a Tuesday bath ritual. Currently, I don't have a bathtub, so I changed it into a Tuesday dry brushing ritual, which dry brushing, you should look it up if you don't know what it is. It's really amazing for you. And to me, it's like just this really, really lush self-care moment. So if you think it's not doable for you right now, don't do what most people do and be like, oh, I'm so poor. Or in that case, but like, don't get into that victim mentality of, oh, I can't afford it, poor me, and la-di-da-di-da, but like, make that at-home treatment. Set yourself up this beautiful corner, maybe in your bathroom, in your place, whatever, and really give yourself that spa moment. And even though I get very regular massage, I still do that all the time. Like I said, I have my dry brushing, and then I sometimes do breast massage. I always have like a little breast massage oil next to my bed, and I just overall create a lot of spa moments throughout my day, throughout my life. And yes, you might have to buy that oil, you might have to prepare that corner a little bit, but also like you can make it as simple as you need it to be. And like, for example, a brush for dry brushing is really not that expensive. And then you can put on some nice music, and just like anything that creates a beautiful spa, taking care of myself, relaxation vibe for you is great. Then the second thing I recommend you do is to pick workout days and move your body. There's nothing like moving your body, and I think most people are just not moving their bodies enough. It's become very normalized, in my opinion, to be struggling with your health, to not move your body. I think sometimes, which is terrible in my opinion, we even make fun of our unhealthy habits in the sense of like, oh, I just love burgers, and oh, I hate working out. And it's like, that kind of sucks. That's not really funny. Like, that kind of sucks for your health. So what I recently started is that I picked a workout schedule that would allow me to not have to think about it all the time, in the sense of like, I feel like us women, we all have a long freaking story with like working out and eating healthy and losing weight and all of that, right? And for me, I often felt I would, in the past, set myself up for like too strict of a schedule. And then I would go hard at it for some time, and then, I would stop. Haven't we all been there? I'm sure we've all been there. And what I've done recently is like, I took the pressure off of myself to have to decide every single day or every other day, like, do I want to work out or not? Is today the day I'm going to work out or not? But it's like Monday, Wednesday, and Friday are my workout days. And it does help that Wednesday I already have a personal training appointment. So Wednesday is already covered. So I basically need to just like actively take care of Monday and Friday. And then, on the weekends, I'll just be going on hikes and stuff, which we've done for quite some time anyways. But what this did for me is that, like I said, it took off the pressure of like, oh, am I gonna do it today or not? And through that, I was in the past wasting a lot of energy. And then also what it does is that it still gives you the flexibility to decide what exactly you want to be doing, right? Because it's like, okay, it's Monday, it's workout day. How do I feel? What do I want to do? And then you can choose from that. Like, do you want to do an at-home workout? Do you just want to dance through your house for half an hour? Do you want to go to the gym? If you want to go to the gym, do you want to attend a class or not? And it still keeps this flow, and this like, you get to choose what exactly you want to do, what exactly you feel like doing, but you've already made the decision and the positive choice for yourself to actually work out. And since we're already talking about working out, what I also recommend is for you to sync your workouts to your cycle. And that's again something that I knew about for quite some time, but then I constantly felt like with the rules I had previously made for myself, that didn't fit. So what I recommend is that you look this up if you don't know already. There's tons of resources on Google, Pinterest, all the things about cycle syncing your workouts. And what it helps you do is basically you're working out according to your hormonal cycle, which I've learned this a long time ago, is basically supporting you in, well, not just your hormones, but also your energy levels, right? Like how I learned this a long time ago is that I noticed when I had my period and I was going too hard in my life, then my whole cycle would kind of be screwed and I would be really tired and exhausted. While if I really took that time, a bit more slowly, I'd actually have really amazing energy available throughout the month. And I believe this is the exact same thing that's kind of happening when we sync our cycle with our workouts, so we don't go too hard, in those phases of our cycle where we shouldn't go and work out really hard. And also one last thing that I want to touch in terms of working out and making that a priority, especially as busy women, let's remember something is better than nothing. A 5-minute stretch is better than not doing anything. A 10-minute walk is better than not going on that walk. Dancing for just 3 minutes through your place is better than not doing it. I think so many of us, we're like overly educated on certain topics and then under educated on how to implement certain things for ourselves, or like I don't want to say under committed, but like there's just a little disbalance between what we know and what we do, because what we know is like this super ideal thing that's really hard to, adjust to when you're like living a completely different reality, right? It's like if, I'm just making this up, but like if the absolute ideal thing was to work out every day for half an hour and you're every day working out, not great grammar, you're not working out any day, it's gonna be super hard to close that gap instantly, right? So something is always better than doing nothing. And for me, this has really been a game changer, because sometimes on like busy days where I feel like I can really barely fit anything in, I'll just be like going to an appointment by foot rather than taking the car or like getting a cab or whatever. I'll be making that my little moment. Or like I said, I'll just be dancing for a minute. And by the way, like being an entrepreneur, I don't have the busiest of schedule. I know there's a lot of female entrepreneurs who have a way more full schedule than I do. But either way, just make these little moments and really see them as self-care moments rather than something that you have to do to, for example, obtain a certain figure or anything like that. Like make sure you understand you're doing this for yourself. The next self-care habit that I've implemented that I recommend you implement ASAP as well, if you're not already doing it, and it's to buy yourself fresh flowers at the farmer's market. I think getting yourself fresh flowers is so just like, it's like romanticizing your life to the fullest, just taking yourself to the farmer's market, wearing a pretty outfit, and just, it's like so much slow living, good living, buying fresh bread and local produce and all these things. And it's just like, you hear it in my voice, I just get so excited about it. And one of the things that I've shifted not too long ago that I feel is a really good distinction here in a way is to not just buy flower arrangements they've already made, but if you can, to actually pick your own flowers there. Now, you're not going to be able to pick your own flowers from the ground at the farmer's market, but just being like, hey, I would like a bunch of these, a bunch of that. Do you have some greenery? That's what I've been doing. And my God, I thought buying myself flowers was fun. this is the next level. I'm telling you, this is the next level. I'm having a blast just picking my own flowers, kind of making my own arrangements. And I feel like, you know, because typically it is women working in these stands, at least what I've been experiencing, they also get just really excited about your excitement and putting it together in a nice way. I think this is such a self-care moment, and to do it like, you know, to go once a week to the farmer's market and pick your own flowers, I think we can all and should all make time for that. Also, I've already sort of touched this, but what I really like to do is to really make it this special moment. So instead of just like going in my joggers and being like, oh, let me pick up a few vegetables and like, you know, whatever, I really make it this moment. Like a lot of times I'll just put like a long dress or what I feel is this really iconic outfit, and I'll really almost like pretend I'm in a movie or like one of these like super cozy YouTube videos, you know. I would love to, by the way, be able to make them, and maybe one day I will, but currently I look at some of these videos, I'm like, this is so pretty. That's kind of the feeling I want to create for myself in my farmer's market moments. And then one other thing that I do when I buy myself fresh flowers, which I find so fun and so like even just adding to that already beautiful experience, is that sometimes I like to sort of code my flower bouquet. So I will basically give it a word or an intention, and that helps me to, you know, deeply anchor in that word or intention. And the cool thing is our subconscious, you know, is taking in everything. So while we not consciously maybe looking at the flower bouquet all the time, our subconscious is seeing it. It's just filtering it out in a way for us, for our consciousness. But we still see it all the time. And that helps us, like I said, like really deeply anchor in that intention. And, you know, sometimes it might not even be unconscious, but you walk past this flower and you're thinking your word, you're thinking your intention, your mantra or whatever. And it's really going to help you during the week to, you know, stick to that and to really embody that and to make sure you're living the life that you want to live. Then my last tip that I have for you, my last self-care habit that I want to share with you, is to pick your signature meals and cook them often. For the longest time, I've been just sort of cooking things that I sort of like, that were easy to make, etc., etc. But like, I don't think we understand the importance and the impact our food has on us. So, you know, and a little aside, even from that aspect, what I also like is that to me, cooking is really, really meditative. Now, not all cooking, some cooking really drives me insane. That's why in the past, I would just pick easy things that I can make over and over. But, you know, when you really get your signature meals, your signature dishes, you really become good at making them, and you obviously pick something that you genuinely enjoy, ideally including the health aspect, and you can really make that, again, like this whole ritual and this fun thing that you do. And if you're anything like me, you love inviting people over to share a meal, and you can really make that something that's not like, oh, now I need to make myself some food, how annoying, but it's like, oh, I love that I'm taking like 20 minutes, half an hour, whatever here to prepare myself, or maybe even myself and my loved ones, this yummy meal that's like honestly just so good because it tastes amazing and it's healthy for us. It's good for us. Similar to that working out thing and planning your massages ahead, what this does as well is that it eliminates a lot of the stress, often very subtle stress, of having to think about what to eat, right? Like how many of us, because we feel like we don't have time and then food stresses us in a way, we'll just order something, we'll go out to eat, etc., etc. Again, I don't think there's anything wrong with doing that. Should we do it all the time? I'm not sure, because a lot of places are using a lot of not so healthy things and we're not even aware of them. Anyways, it eliminates the stress of having to think about it, or, you know, then taking the unhealthy route. And what you can also do, if you feel like you'd rather do like a Sunday big batch of cooking, have that big batch and then freeze some of it, and then you can unfreeze it throughout the week. Or you could even like make a big batch at some point and like a really big batch and freeze some, so you have it available on those days where you feel like you really want that delicious meal and that healthy meal that brings you joy and pleasure, but you don't have to do much except like putting it in the oven or the microwave or whatever to warm it back up. Generally though, personally, I prefer cooking, you know, on the daily, because that really gives me this meditative moment throughout my week, throughout my day, rather than kind of just again going for efficiency, which I know is a problem for a lot of women. We've learned to be efficient rather than, you know, being in that delicious, slow, enjoying life kind of energy. So personally, I think it's better to, you know, get that signature dish, or actually a few signature dishes that we enjoy making, and then making them throughout the week, and really making that a little celebration. And of course, if you get tired of some of them at some point, pick a new signature dish. But like looking up a recipe and really mastering a dish, I think is something so beautiful, something so soul nourishing. And I think a lot of us, like I said, don't make enough time for it, because we don't make it enough of an how do you say that? Enough of an priority. Where was my mind just going? That's fine. But yeah, food is so important, and it does so much on a subtle level with our energy. I know so many people complain about not having energy, and it's like, but what do you eat? Like, do you eat well? And a lot of people don't eat well. So I think this is a really important habit. And again, if having signature meals don't work for you, if it doesn't turn you on, find your way of doing it. But prioritize your nutrition. And if you're not already doing that, try cooking as a form of meditation. For me, it works wonders. And that doesn't mean that every day I'm just standing in the kitchen being like, oh, life is so good and here I'm cooking. Some days I can be a bit like, oh my God, I'm kind of annoyed that now I have to cook because we're hungry. And you know, like I live with my boyfriend and I'm the one usually cooking. So sometimes it feels like, oh, it's my job. Like that's so annoying. But even in those moments, typically I'm like, okay, I actually enjoy this and this is really good. And the fact that I'm annoyed by it right now tells me I should do it, which doesn't mean we can never ask for help, right? Like sometimes on those days I'll also be like, hey babe, do you want to make it like a cooking experience with me? Because I'm not really feeling it, but I want us to have a good meal. And then, you know, he'll be excited to join me. But yeah, that's that. And I know these sounds so simple. A lot of them are so basic and you probably heard them a million times, but like, are you implementing them? Are you doing them? So even if you've heard all of these, take those little nudges that were like extra pieces, not just nuggets. Where's my brain going? Take those little nuggets that were maybe new for you. And if nothing was new for you, well, you probably already zapped out, or you get to just see this as a big fat reminder to do the things you already know would be really good for you. Now, before we wrap this up, I would love to hear from you. What is your favorite self-care habit? I see the comments of this video being this beautiful inspiration pod where we all can just browse through and inspire each other and get inspired by all these different things that we're all doing. If you have any special twist to something that you've heard a million times and that's the twist that made it work for you, please share it with us. Please help us build this beautiful inspiration pod for self-care here in the comments. And that's it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed it. Please give it a thumbs up if you did. Pass it along to somebody who you think would benefit from it. And like I said, do not forget to put your self-care habit or your adjustment of a self-care habit in the comments so we can all inspire each other. And I hope to see you in the next video.